Again, happy Father's Day. Because it is Father's Day, I'm going to make my comments about fathers this morning. Before I do that, let me just pause for a second or two and acknowledge that while Father's Day for most of us is a good time, there are many people who, for various reasons, Father's Day is painful. I think clearly when death has robbed you of your father, or even worse, when death has robbed you of a child, Father's Day can be a very painful day. If you've died and you wanted children but were unable to have children, Father's Day can also be painful. If, for whatever reason, there is a breach in your family and your children, your child, is no longer speaking to you, this can be a really rough day. And so for all those and many other reasons, I'd like to just pause for a second, ask you to bow your heads, and simply say a prayer for people in that situation. We don't want to rejoice without acknowledging that some are in pain. Amen. So, you found the perfect present for your dad? That's a question. I doubt it. My dad and my grandfather, when my grandfather died, almost 20 years worth of Father's Day gifts were still in the wrapper stuck in his closet. But if you want the perfect gift for your father, let me make a suggestion. The 10 Commandments list between keep holy the Sabbath and thou shalt not kill, the 4th commandment, which is. Now, why would God put that there if it wasn't important? The best thing you could do for your father is to honor him. You know? That's what we want to do here today, is to honor and respect our fathers. But dads, let's face it, Father's Day isn't quite as a big deal as Mother's Day, is it? On Mother's Day, there's usually a higher attendance at Mass, but I'm not complaining about this today. This is good. Mother's, industry makes lots of money off of Mother's Day. There's not a cards. By the way, I recently had to buy some graduation cards. I couldn't believe how much those cards cost now. That's part of the gift now, right? Yeah. But they make lots of money on flowers and corsages. Emotions run high. People gather at Mom's house, all to pay honor to the hands that rock the cradle. But on Father's Day, typically the church isn't as full. Emotions are not as high. And businesses don't profit nearly as much, all except for phone companies. And before cell phones became common, Southwestern Bell reported that on Mother's Day was the busiest day of the year in terms of phone lines. But on Father's Day, they made the most money, because on Father's Day was the most number of collect calls made. It's not easy to be a dad. It seems like dads spend the first couple years of their children's life encouraging them to walk and talk, and then the rest of their life telling them to sit down and be quiet. In Merriam-Webster's dictionary, the word father comes right after the word fatigued. Of course, it also follows right after the word father, the word fathead. But I don't think that has anything to do. Unfortunately, we live in a culture that lies to us all the time. And it has marginalized the role of fathers in the family. If you watch television, especially Disney programs, the father character is always portrayed as a fathead, a bumbling buffoon, an idiot. There's even a name for it. Media analysis call it the Homer Simpson syndrome. Shows like The Simpsons have turned fathers and fatherhood generally into laughing stocks. We've come a long way from when I was a kid, Fathers Know Best, and the Andy Griffith Show, right? Where fathers were looked up to. But today's portrayal of fathers couldn't be further from the truth. You may not see it, especially when you're young. But a father is more influential in the development of a child's life than any other factor. Study after study has shown this. Studies in church say fathers who come to church regularly, their children tend to stay coming to church. Fathers who come to church regularly, their children usually get higher educations, are prone less to depression and suicide, and themselves have happier marriages. That's what studies have shown. There is no more influential factor in a child's development than father. Even more, I know moms, you're not going to like this, but even more than mother. Mother plays an important role, but a father plays an essential role. And while your kids may not seem to appreciate it, the older they get, they begin to see and appreciate all that you mean to them and what you've done for them. Remember what Mark Twain once said? When I was 14, my father was so ignorant that I could hardly stand to have the old man around. But when I got to be 21, I was just amazed, astonished at how much the old man learned in 7 years. Father's Day is a time to celebrate the huge contribution made to the family life by our nation's dads. A special moment of the year to say thanks for all the sacrifices made, for all the hard work, for the long hours of parenthood freely given, but rarely acknowledged. An opportunity to salute the simple, quiet nobility of being a father. I'd like to address the rest of my comments directly to fathers. I want to begin by asking you a simple question. What is the most important thing a father can do for his children? What is the most important thing that a father can do for his children? As head coach at UCLA, John Wooden won 10 NCAA championships in a 12-year period. In his memoirs, A Lifetime of Reflection on and Off the Court, he writes, "The best thing a father can do for his children is to love their mother." I think he's right. Dads, it goes without saying that your kids need and deserve your love. But if you're married, your wife comes first. That might be tough for some people to hear, but just about every relationship expert agrees. Now, of course, there are times when your children's immediate needs might become first momentarily, but ultimately, the marriage bond has to be paramount. Your marriage comes first, then your kids. When it's the other way around, bad things start to happen. When kids are the center of your universe, they grow up thinking they're the center of the universe. But kids who grow up watching their dad model and express true love for their mom will learn the right way to love and be loved. Ephesians 5:25, we read, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loves the church and gave himself for it." And gave himself for it. Of course, there are numerous ways to show your wife that you love her. But in my opinion, I think we can reduce it to two W's. Two things: works and words. It's really rather simple. But ordinary acts, regularly exercised, will show your wife that you love her. Help around the house. Lift a finger to clear the table. Don't leave your towels or underwear on the bathroom floor. Amen? Most importantly, don't stop dating her. Court her all through your life. Do things that she wants to do. Not necessarily things you want to do, but things she wants to do. Go on walks. Spend time doing things with her. Someone after Mass, an old lady says, "Don't forget, Father, tell them to hold their wife's hands." Well, if your wife likes that kind of stuff, then do it. How will I know if your life wants that kind of stuff? How do you know that? Why don't you ask her? Maybe today she wants to hold hands, tomorrow she doesn't. Yeah, that's how it goes, right? Show her your love through work. So it's not enough like on birthdays and anniversaries and Mother's Days to come in with a big bouquet. I'm sure she appreciates that. But it's the little things done regularly that matter. But let me caution you, if you forget Mother's Day, birthdays, anniversaries, you're never going to live that down. But it's really the daily things that make a difference. Also show your love through words. Let me be really clear here. Never, under any circumstance, no matter how frustrated you might be, no matter what's going on in your life that irritates you, ever use foul language to refer to your wife or foul language in speaking with your wife. Never. Got it, guys? I got to hear that. Do you got it? You got it, then do it. Along the same lines, listen to her words. Your words tell her how much she means to you. You have to listen to her words. Now, study after study has shown this. It's a simple fact. And let me pause here. Another lie of the culture. What we're going through right now, let me be really clear. Women and men are equal, yes? But we are not the same. We are not the same, and any lie that tries to convince us that we are the same is just that lie. Women think and feel differently than men think and feel. We're two different. I don't know why God did this. I'm sure you've wondered the same thing, because it seems like this all the time, right? Am I right? But that's the way it is, okay? So women, let me just throw a number. I don't know if this is the exact number. Women have 5,000 words to use every day. Men have 2,500 words to use every day. So when the guy comes home from work, he's used up all his words. And so she still has 2,500 words left to go. Listen patiently to your wife. Stop, because you're saying, well, that's not fair. There's plenty of things I could talk about that women do that's not fair that men don't do. But on this one, it's really important. Listen to your wife, okay? Listen to those extra words. Be patient and listen, okay? You know, be a man. Our sex is the one that traditionally stood between wild beasts to protect our wife and children. Our sex traditionally have been the ones who went off to war, took up arms. Our sex has been the one that fought for freedom, that stood in trenches and stormed beaches and struggled in jungles. That's what we're made of. That's how God made us. Don't try to tell me that we could do those amazing things and we can't sit after work without watching TV or reading the paper and not listen to our wives. Amen? You need to actively listen. Again, what does actively listen mean? Listen without watching the ball game at the same time. Listen not through newspaper. It means empathizing with what she's feeling. In fact, author, Christian speaker Robert Morgan has identified 5 types of conversations that make up the fabric of our relationships: small talk, serious talk, self-talk, soul talk, and sweet talk. He claims few marriages will fail when these 5 types of communication skills are practiced between husbands and wife. Of course, sometimes, guys, sometimes what you don't say is as important as what you do say. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? One of my favorite Christian comedians, Tim Hawkins, even wrote a song about it. These are the things you don't say to your wife. Would you like to hear some of that song? Play it on the screen. Watch the screen.
Hey honey, have you gained some weight in your rear end? The dress you wear reminds me of my old girlfriend. And where'd you get those shoes? I think they're pretty lame. Would you stop talking, cause I'm trying to watch the game? If you're a man who wants to live a long and happy life, these are the things you don't say to your wife. I planned a hunting trip next week on your birthday. I didn't ask you, but I knew it'd be okay. Go make some dinner while I watch this fishing show. I taped it over our old wedding video. If you're a man who's done that, a long and happy life, these are the things you don't say to you. Solo, okay. Your cooking is okay, but not like Mother makes. The diamond in the ring I bought you is a fake. Your eyes look puffy, dear. Are you feeling ill? Happy anniversary, I bought you a treadmill. If you're a man who wants to live a long and happy life, that too. These are the things you don't say to your wife. If you're a man who doesn't want to get killed with a knife, these are the things you don't say to your wife.
Husbands, love your wives with words and works. In his book, If I Could Do It All Over Again, John Dresser shares 8 things he would do differently if he could go through his years of being a father all over again. Can you guess what's the first item on his list? He writes, first of all, if I could do it all over again, I would love my wife more. Because by loving my children's mother more, I would create an environment of security in our home. Our love would be something that they could see, something that they would never have to worry about. Dads, don't wait until you're looking back in your life, wishing you could do it all over again. Godly men love their wives. Let the church say,